let's talk about pricing again. Fresh out of Target, where we spent ungodly amounts of money for no apparent reason, but just kidding. They carry multiple things that we use as a family, so hey, we continue to shop there. But it's very, very heavily obvious a lot of times that they are running 103 to 105%, and then they're running an extra 5% off if you have their credit card or whatever you're doing based on that, right? So, from a business perspective, from a foundational business perspective, how do we look at that? Well, if you are specifically targeting, or what you're specifically targeting based on price, based on competition, and what's out there in the market, you need to understand your 95 to 105 rule, right? And know your brand. That's why we talked about brand identity and understanding what's going on. If a coat of paint changes your environment to a point that you can charge 102 or 103%, great. If it doesn't, and you've got marks on the wall, or you have basic concrete floors, and people see you as a value brand, you have a problem based on the pricing structure. Your environment leads to being able to charge a certain price, especially given the customer service variations that you see in the market. So, if you are specifically a luxury brand or not a luxury brand, or you're going directly against targeted people that are or aren't, you need to understand exactly where they're sitting based on the product that they are offering versus the product that you are offering. Now, let me give you automotive context to this. All right. If you go into a regular domestic, okay, you hop in there, they've got a sales tower approach, they're ready for the negotiation. Their offer, typically you can hit them by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, right? But if you walk into a luxury brand, you may be using a 1 point actor, whether or not they have a gatekeeper, and they may or may not be right to market depending on the vehicle, depending on the cost, depending on what's going on. So, as a business owner, what do we learn from that? All products may be the same, but the environment changes. Do you prefer to shop at a Mercedes dealer even if you're not buying a Mercedes? That should hit home with most people. I expect a certain level of customer service when I walk into that touch engagement zone. I also expect a certain level of service if I walk into a Nissan store that has, 15 people, an elevated service and sales desk with a gatekeeper, with an obvious gatekeeper, knowing what's happening. So as a business, you need to understand where you're sitting and where you either think you can charge or can charge, that makes sense to your customer. Therefore, garnering a second and third repeat visit, because you won't if you're 103% and you need a coat of paint still. If you understand those aspects, you will be able to scale faster, because your pricing matters nowadays. Everything is very transparent based on price. People can look up a specific product and see, okay, wait a minute, I'm paying an extra $3, or do I not care? And that is all based on your offerings, based on your environment, based on your brand. And that is foundational, because if you don't properly price and you don't properly know how to price and adjust to your competition, you will not succeed, and you won't know why, because people won't say anything, they just won't come back. So, how do we look at that? In automotive, it's relatively simple, especially when you look at Carvana versus a regular dealership or people like that, because Carvana offers ease of use and ease of doing business. But what they also do, they know exactly who they are. They come to market typically at 100% to 102% of market on every SKU, no matter what, typically. Now, if you're at one of these a store that just needs a coat of paint or doesn't have the right environment or hasn't trained their salespeople properly, people are going to expect to pay 97, 98%. And do you not think they don't know? They do. Throw it into ChatGPT. Do a value calculation on vehicles. Do a value calculation on your trade-ins. All of it matters. And all of it now is out there. Whether or not there's gatekeeper between specific books and all of that variability. Fair enough. But coming to market right matters. Because are you going to sit on a unit that shouldn't be sitting? Or are you going to rip a unit that needs to go fast based on market volatility, exclusivity of the vehicle, and the rest of your inventory? Like, subscribe, comment. Every business needs to understand where they are sitting and then how they are coming to market and why. You won't get direct feedback in these, especially in the southern markets. People are too nice. Bless your heart. We won't see you next time. What are your thoughts?